Hello, and welcome to the Mindset Bloomcast with Mallory. I am your host, Mallory McGary. I'm the founder and CEO of Beautifully Blooming. You can find me at beautifullyblooming.com or email me at mallory@beautifullyblooming.com. You are listening to the WGSN-DB Going Solo Network, radio, TV, and podcasts, the #1 internet talk network. Welcome today. I'm really excited about today's topic. And it was one that, as I've been fleshing out a few new ideas for my business and for growth and for what I'm seeing around in friends and family and from clients of mine, that it is kind of the end of summer. If you haven't gone back to school yet, you're going back to school within the next little bit. And everything kind of culminates at once. And it's what I found is that at the end of the school year, it's dreadful for most of my parents. My kids don't go to school. I have a 2-year-old and a 1-year-old, but from friends of mine that have kids in school, it is kind of that dread that, oh my gosh, now I have to plan for 3 months of activities and things for the summer. And then as it starts to creep closer into August when school starts, that another sense of dread comes in, thinking, what am I going to do now when my kids go back to school? You're really excited for them to go back to school, but are having that feeling of maybe it's just a little let down a little bit in the fact that now you've gotten used to everybody around for 3 months at a time, having everybody back under your roof, and then going back to school, and that's starting a whole new dynamic for you and yourself. And when I've kind of looked back on this, there are 3 things that I have learned from motherhood. And this is my limited experience in my 3 years of being a mom, my 5 years of trying to have a family, and then delving into a different type of life in general of becoming an entrepreneur. And in some way, the two, motherhood and entrepreneurship, go together in the fact that what you have, your offer, you're a product based selling company. So maybe you're a direct sales company, or you have an Etsy shop, or you're delivering digital courses or something of that sort, that it's your baby. You've worked really hard on it. You're putting it out into the world. And it's kind of scary to let things, put that out into the world, have the world shape it a little bit, shape your product. If you're a service-based business or delivering a digital type of thing, that your audience or the world can kind of help shape what that looks like. And then the same with your kids, of sending them back to school, sending them to school to start with. They're being shaped out of your own space. And so lesson number 1 I've learned from motherhood is that I surround myself and my kids with my community, that I'm okay. I want them to be shaped by this community. So whether you call it your community, whether you call it your tribe, your village, whatever that looks like in your definition, it's one of those things that there are people I trust, people that I know will love my kids, people that I know will strengthen them, will give them different boundaries, obviously different authority styles, so and just parenting styles in general, that will give them a wide variety and better well-roundedness in how they're communicating with the world and how they see the world. And for me, my village and my community is based, I'm lucky enough to live by a lot of my family, so it is a family based, but I also have really good friends that I rely on, and people that really strengthen me, that maybe they're not somebody that would be kind of the one to help shape you. You would be the first person to have shape your kids, but they've helped shape me, and I want them to help shape my kids in a different way that maybe will give them a different perspective, give them different thoughts, and help create that critical thinker in what that looks like. And so I rely on people that have shaped me, my family. I rely on friends of mine that are have kids the same age, so they're fostering friendships in a different way. But that's mainly what my community, my village is. And the what I'm learning from being able to take a step back and allow my village to help raise my kids is that they're helping raise me. They're helping me become the woman and mom that I want to be. I'm taking bits and pieces from different parenting styles, different ways of communicating, different tips and tricks for maybe getting my little guy to eat something that is not necessarily in his palate right now, but I'm taking those pieces and it's helping develop me into a better mom and a better woman, because now I have more of that critical thinking piece around me, where I not only are my kids being shaped, I'm also being shaped in that motherhood role that I play. And it's become a vice versa type of thing for what I've offer my kids to my community and my village as well. People are doing the same to me. And it's helping just kind of foster that whole village mentality in that everything, it takes a village to raise your kids. And it reminds me of when I went to Africa in 2014. I visited actually a couple of villages, and it was that. It was all the kids running together, all of the moms just sitting in a circle cooking and working on different projects, things that they were doing and wanting to sell, carrying laundry, everything just kind of back and forth, what you imagine seeing and of what a village would look like. And it really hit home to me the more I've been inserting myself into my community rather than trying to stay in my own space and not necessarily hover, but for lack of better terms, hovering over my own kids. That by stepping into my community and allowing myself to rely on my community, that it has become a wonderful skill of mine. Now it's taken a lot of practice, but to be able to ask for help isn't quite as daunting of a task that it has been in the past. That it doesn't feel like if I'm asking for help that I'm weak, I'm not a good mom, I'm not any of that. It's just really being able to say I need help, and it helps build me up because it's a strength. Asking for help is a strength. And I've said that a couple of different times in different episodes, that asking for help is a strength in allowing yourself to know where you can't grow or where you're struggling to grow, that you need somebody to mentor you. And community, village, not only are they mentoring and helping raise my kids, they're mentoring me, like I said, of being able to pull bits and pieces from different parenting styles and different backgrounds, different relationship styles, anything like that, that they're mentoring me and to help make me more well-rounded and to help maybe unlock something that I didn't really think about before, or that was something I didn't really feel was super important at one point, but now I'm realizing that it's a little bit more important the older my kids get, and to start integrating that into my patterns and my daily life. So that's the first thing I have learned from motherhood. Rely on your community, your village, and your tribe. The second thing I have learned from motherhood is how to be hands-on and hands-off, of having when to be a part of the experience and when to let your kids experience things themselves and start to work things out together. As I have two little guys, two little babies, that right now my son is learning how to share and to really be more ingrained in his sister's life, and to that two people together doesn't always necessarily mean it's the best play date um, all the time. That sometimes he's going to want a toy she has, and she is going to want something he has, and she wants to be in his space, and he doesn't want to be in her space, or her to be in his space. That watching that fluctuation has been kind of hard at times, where um, seeing that we want to be in the same space, and maybe some tears are shed, maybe some things, sisters gets pushed over, or just they kind of stumble over each other, just kind of just normal kid experiences. But in watching those, instead of always hopping to be the one to um, save one or the other or both from what is happening, to allow them to work it out together, and to let them experience what their lives are going to be together. That mom can't always be here to save us when we're crying. I mean, granted, making sure everybody's safe, first of all, but um, in those moments of trying to share a toy, that if I don't get my way, nobody's going to come in and save me. I've got to work it out. We've got to figure it out. We've got to work together. And cultivating the relationship and that excitement in how to be together and to work together to find that common goal. And it's been a test of my own willpower, of if when somebody starts to cry or makes a scream, to not just jump, be the first thing that I do, and my reaction is to jump out of my chair and say, okay, what's wrong? One of you did something, so who's the one that fault, or anything like that. It's been more of an experience for me to step back and let them work together, and to watch it happen. Sometimes there's needs some mitigation because they are still little, but there are moments when you can see what you've taught them has clicked, and it's been awesome to watch my little guy try and negotiate with his little sister in in what toys. So it's, if he wants something she's got, if he, before he can have it, he has to give her something else, um, to switch it off, to share. Other times it's, I want what she has, but I was playing over here, so we've got to learn to take turns. And watching those little bits and pieces come together in his mind, and just the wheels spinning in his, as you can see it in your kids' eyes, it's been incredible to watch as the learning and growing happens. Because I wish that I could still see that in my own eyes, of watching things come together in how they work, how they connect, and what I learned one day, and watch it finally come and work out on another day. Would, I don't get to see that in my own eyes. So to watch it from a third party perspective into my kids has been really eye opening, in that we're always learning and we're always growing. Um, so kind of step number two was be the hands on and hands off, of when to jump in, when not to jump in, where it makes it happen. And then last but definitely not least, and probably not all, this isn't all in its exact order, but um, two flows into three actually really well, in the fact that we're always learning and we're always growing. I'm going to start with this little topic with a little story. That as I grew up babysitting, I was a nanny for a family for a long time. Most of my teenage years, I was a nanny for a family for a while. And being able to have that as a part of their, uh, be a part of their daily life is great, and was an awesome building experience for me. But becoming a mom, and I've watched plenty, right? I have my own mom I'm gleaned from. I have neighbors, friends, um, different parents of friends of mine that I've gleaned from growing up. But having that with me has been an awesome foundation. But when I went into motherhood, it was okay, I've got most of this figured out. I have things I really like to do, things that I think would be very beneficial, things that fit authentically to me and being a mom and what that looks like, and things that I don't really want to see happen, things that I'm never going to do. And I had a really great plan built up in my head. And when I had my son, it seemed all was well. Everything could kind of was going on path, going on, it was tracking for what it was. And then he started walking and crawling and walking. And that's kind of where some of my plans, the best laid plans, don't always come to fruition. And I did have best laid plans, but he didn't come with an instruction manual. So in how to teach him and keep him away from things that were dangerous, it's still always a learning game. And how he reacts to me, how I react to him, things that are going on, it's always a learning game. And I didn't realize how much learning and growth I would also need to be having at the same time as my kids are growing and having these experiences that the they're learning to stay away from things that are dangerous, but I'm also learning how to communicate to them that things are dangerous by not just saying they're dangerous, you can't have those type of thing. And so it's become an ever evolving learning journey for me that I didn't expect. I wasn't blinded to it or wasn't not planning on learning and growing, but it was more of the realization that things the way I see them are how I see them through a 35-year-old's mind, not a 2-year-old. So it doesn't necessarily make sense. What makes sense to me doesn't necessarily make sense to him. And now doing the same with a little girl who's completely opposite, right? I have to go through a whole new learning pattern with just another little human because she responds differently. She reacts differently. Her reaction to me is different than my reaction to her. And it's not only a learning experience for me to parent them, but it's a learning experience for me to also parent with my husband. Whether it's your partner, significant other, whatever that looks like in your life, parenting with somebody else who also has a best laid plan and completely different. Maybe you agree on some things, but maybe you don't agree on everything. So you have to learn how to make that work for both of you and make that work for your kids. So it's an ever evolving door of uh, learning. I remember sitting down with my husband right um, when we first got engaged, and we were talking about how we were going to parent our kids. And my parenting style is 180 from what his parenting style is, and that's okay. And we've both seen as we've been raising our kids into each other's worlds a little bit and thought, okay, that's why you would think this, and that's why you think this, and allowed it to shape the way that we parent together. And the things that I said I would never do, they always say it, never say never. It rings true. You never say never. There are things that I thought I would never say to my kids because I had it said to me and I didn't like it when it said to me, and it's come out of my mouth. I've had things that actions I didn't ever want to have I've made those actions to them, and it's not necessarily out of consciousness. It's conditioning. It's a little bit of um, environment, what I grew up in, that it was just kind of autopiloted out of my brain, out of my mouth. And it's made me take a step back and say, hold on, we've got to kind of revamp what your reaction is. And I have heard something interesting lately too of parenting is most like your kid is triggering you, and it's probably something that triggers you and triggered you as you were growing up, or had a response that would trigger you as you were growing up. So you're dealing with your own trigger and the way that you feel about what is happening, as well as trying to parent them through it. And sometimes it doesn't come off that way because we haven't fully dealt with what that looks like. Maybe we didn't realize it was something that we needed to deal with prior to, until it got triggered, or that it even was a trigger until it happened. And having that experience, sometimes I found that it's easier for me to say, we're going to take a break. Like, we're going to talk about this, but we're going to take a break. And I'm going to figure out how I feel about this and how I want it to come across to you, because I haven't fully dealt with whatever's coming up yet. And something that it hit me really hard in saying that, oh my goodness, that is something I never would have thought of as part of being a parent, that you're still trying to get through some of your own conditioning, some of your own environmental experiences, some of your circumstances growing up, and that those things will surface or bubble up at different times when you didn't think that they would ever be triggers. So those are the three things that I've learned in motherhood: is relying on my community. It's an ever evolving door of learning, and just really to know the difference of how hands-on and how hands-off to be. So when we go into the second half of this show today, we are going to relate that to being a business owner, because I am an entrepreneur, and the same three lessons have been something I've learned as a business owner. So I'm going to put that in there as well. So we're going to head to a quick commercial. You are listening to the Mindset Bloomcast with Mallory. I am your host, Mallory McGary. I'm the founder and CEO of Beautifully Blooming. You can find me at beautifullyblooming.com or email me at mallory@beautifullyblooming.com. You are listening to the WGSN-DB Going Solo Network, radio, TV, and podcast, the #1 internet talk network. We'll be right back. Welcome back to the Mindset Bloomcast with Mallory. I am your host, Mallory McGary. I am the founder and CEO of beautifullyblooming.com. You can find me at beautifullyblooming.com or email me at mallory@beautifullyblooming.com. You are listening to the WGSN-DB Going Solo Network, radio, TV, and podcast, the #1 internet talk network. Welcome back. We are talking about the three things I learned in motherhood, which were how to be hands-on and hands-off, when to know that difference, to rely on my village, my community, and also that it's an ever-evolving door of learning. And I've learned that in motherhood, but relating it now to a business perspective, because my other passion, besides being a mom, is to help frustrated moms, overwhelmed moms that just feel stuck in the rut of daily life, to find that freedom in motherhood and to shed mom guilt while doing it. And so when I started my business, I did not realize that it was quite going to be quite as the experience. Some bits and pieces were overwhelming. Other bits and pieces were really simple and fast. My strengths and my weaknesses have played out in very large portions. I can see where I'm lacking and where I need to strengthen, and also where I'm really strong and what really propels me that way and my driving factors. So when I relate it to my three lessons for motherhood into my business, number one, relying on my village and my community. I've surrounded myself with amazing communities that build me up, that are there for me to answer questions. I have a network. I've networked enough that I can ask anybody at any time to hop on a Zoom call really fast to just kind of help me out, maybe to do a co-working session, just because I need somebody to hold me accountable for what I'm trying to deliver on. And not only that I'm relying on them to help me, because we're all in different phases of our business, everybody in my communities, but we are all struggling at different points. So my strengths play to somebody else's weakness, and I can help pinpoint things or help them break out of a creative slump, a writer's block, I guess, if you will, that will help propel their own business forward. But it also is helping me propel my business forward in a different way. So I relied on that, but not only utilizing that as my village, I've spent really good time with mentors that are steps ahead of me, but are able to give me the direction and the help that I need, and be the ones that are poking holes in my own business, my own offers that I want to put out there, my own courses, things like that. They're helping me become better and stronger that way. And they're a part of my village, they're a part of my community. And spending the time and the money for a mentor, I thought would be terrible, kind of like asking for help from neighbors or your village, whatever that looks like. But being able to say and spend the time and money on a mentor that is really going to help you propel you forward, but also sees the value of what you're offering, has been life changing. And that's one of my favorite things to do with my clients is that they come to me with an idea and say, I want to do this for a business, that I become their mentor and say, great. And we work together. We're spending time together. We're really cultivating that and making sure that what they're wanting is actually what they're wanting. It's not just something you're throwing out there just to put it out there, just to say I have this, that it's something that's actually authentic to you. The first business I launched, I let die because it was not authentic to me. And it was hard to watch it die, and I had a mentor that was really trying to go for it, but could tell I wasn't in it. And she even told me, until you find something that you're actually in it with, don't don't keep going, because you're going to be burnt out in trying to do something that you're not in love with. And so I let it die, and I came back with Beautifully Blooming. I came back a lot stronger, and I came back with a lot better of a clarity of what I wanted. And I still have to get holes poked in what's going on, but it's helping me become better. So that is number one in the best nutshell possible, is that I am relying on my community. I'm relying on the people around me that are also in the same boat I am, trying to build a business. I'm relying on my mentors to help me build the business that I want. Number two, hands on and hands off. It sounds weird as saying it as a business, from a business perspective, because as the sole person in your business, you've got to have your hands in a lot of different pots. But the trick is to know which pots you need your hands in. And as businesses around, I have thousands of courses that are in my course graveyard, courses I have looked at once or twice, courses that I got somewhere and just signed up for them, but I've never opened, and some that I totally have forgotten that I even like bought at any point. and freebies galore of do this, do that, do this, do that to try and help propel me forward. This is where the hands-on and hands-off approach happens. It's what are you really wanting to focus on? What is your strength? Where are you going with this business? What are you wanting from this business? And focus on the things that are going to help propel that forward into that vision, into what you're wanting. Don't just grab at every low-hanging fruit possible because they said it could be you can have $10,000 months, you can have 10,000 followers on Instagram, you can become verified on Instagram, utilize your Facebook ads, all of these things that are out there that are a great knowledge and great resources for the right people. It's not for everybody. And that's where the hands-on and hands-off approach is. For a while, I had a little sticky note on my computer that just said, just say no. Saying no to freebies, saying no to sales calls, saying no to blueprints, saying no to anything that was pitching itself to me as my quick fix in trying to make my business grow. Because it's not all a quick fix. And even better, everybody has great ideas, but what you're getting is one person's ideas and then another person's ideas on the same topic, and they tend to contradict each other at times. And so what happens? You just stay stuck because this person said this and this person said this. Then you just end up staying stuck where you're at. You're not growing anywhere because you have nowhere to grow because you're with contradictory information that it just feels even more overwhelming because now you don't know what to do. So the hands-on, hands-off approach that I have learned from my business is that just say no to things that are not going to serve you, serve your business, serve just if they're just going to the course graveyard to die, don't even get them. Just let them die in your email inbox. I can say that there are days that I've opened up my inbox and there's been 75 new offers of different freebies or master classes or anything like that for Instagram, Facebook, launching a course, starting your own Etsy shop, whatever that is. I've seen multiple, and I've had to just trash them, unsubscribed, trash, whatever that looked like, because they were things that would be that shiny syndrome a little bit. And, oh, this could be the quick fix, rather than me actually sitting in my business and doing the things that I know that are working for my business, that I'm just sitting there and I'm just trying to find the band-aids rather than actually get to fixing the broken bone. If for an analogy, in that way, I'm putting band-aids on a broken bone. And it's become a life changer, and how much stress I feel, how much anxiety I feel, how much relief I have felt by just being able to say no, not signing up for everything, not trying to get on every call possible with everybody I just feel like I need to have them help me, but don't know really what they're offering and who they are. It's just like, have a call and you're like, cool, and just signed up. So number 2 that I learned was hands-on, hands-off in what to spend time on, where to spend my money, and what is really going to help push my business forward. And then number 3, the ever revolving door of knowledge. I am not a techie person. I am not a designer. I'm not a graphic designer. I'm not a website designer. I am not the greatest at content planning. I am a much better at seeing the actual full picture and where I want it to go. But breaking it down into those smaller tasks at times is not always my strong suit. Depending on time, season, type of thing, I'm better at some than others. But full transparency, that's not my strong suit. I can see the full picture. I have a really hard time breaking it down. So there are things that I spend way too much time on that I shouldn't spend time on. Um, I am not needing to be the most fancy graphic designer, but if I can put something out and get it out there, great. I don't need to spend hours perfecting something that I may or may not ever end up posting, right? In that of it may never get seen, but I've spent hours in trying to perfect it, hours in trying to perfect a website, which I'm really proud of my website, but there's still some tweaks that need to happen. There's still changes that need to happen. And it's a process that's coming. But right now, my bandwidth is not there because I know what I need to focus on to move my business forward. And I know where my focus needs to be. My website has all that's needed on there, all that is going to help attract people to my business, but it's not right now the focus of where it's going and what is going to help make my passion and my dream come more to life and help get my message more out into the world, into the people that need to hear it, to those moms that feel like they're just frustrated and burnt out in being a mom, to those moms that feel overwhelmed that if one more person says that they want to take on one more activity, not even that, maybe even one more snack for the day, you feel like it's going to be over. The mom that just feels like I get up, I do my work, I do a workout, I make breakfast, we go here, we do this, this kid goes here, this kid goes here, we come home, we have dinner, we have family time, and we go to bed. Next day, same thing. Next day, same thing. Stuck in that, maybe you're stuck in the daily rut of motherhood life. That's okay. I've been all those moms. I am all of those moms. And it's okay. I have days that I'm going through all the motions. I have days that I am in it to win it. And everything is like planned and everything's going great. I have days that I am so overwhelmed that if I hear one more scream or crashing toy, I might lose it. I have the days of I am so frustrated that I don't know what I'm going to do with my life. There's got to be something more. I have my business and I do know that. But there are times when I feel like I'm frustrated in the fact of now what? What is going to help me move the needle forward? And that's what I get frustrated about, or that I get frustrated and that I don't have the time that I need to do something for my business because I have other obligations over here. So I get frustrated. I am all of those moms. I am a just normal mom making it the best way possible. I'm winging it every day possible with everything that I've got, but I'm doing the best with what I have. And I'm not burnt out because I have found that I have those passions. I have those things that I can step away from and say, I'm just Mallory. I'm Mallory. I am a business owner. I'm a mom. I'm a wife. I am a creative. I love to read. I love true crime. I love being outside. I don't love wearing shoes. I would rather go everywhere barefoot if possible. Um, I love being with my family, but I also love being with me. That's what makes my freedom why I'm not burnt out. I found that freedom in motherhood in saying I can be Mallory, and that's great because being a mom is not what defines me. Being a wife is not what defines me. Every role I play as both of those does not define me. Being a sister, every all of the roles that I play don't define who I am. I define how they are to what they are to me. And I don't feel guilt anymore, mom guilt anymore in saying I'm going to go to the store by myself or I am going to ask somebody to come and hang out with my kids while I work on something for my business because I need that time. I'm going to go to dessert with my friends because it fills up my cup. It's good for me. And I don't feel bad in asking somebody for help to help me. And that is where I found my freedom and why I don't get burnt out. There are times that I feel all of those things as a mom, yes. But my burnt out feeling doesn't come because I know how to mitigate that. And that's what I'm here for. That's what I'm good at. So the three things I've learned in motherhood and in business are relying on my village, my mentors, learning that life is an ever evolving door. It doesn't matter if you're a mom or just life in general. You're always learning, you're always growing. And how to be pick those hands on and hands off. And for anybody that's really wanting to dig more into this feeling, if you are feeling frustrated, there I have a free 20-minute call. We can talk about it, work through a frustration. I've got a free webinar that's coming up, and the registration link will be on the website, so check it out, that you can sign up for and grab. We're going to find the 3 ways to find freedom in motherhood, and that you no longer feel burnt out, especially as you're going back to school. You probably are feeling the burnout right now of it being August and you can't wait for them to go back to school. But then what? What are you going to do when they're all back in school? Or if your kids are little like mine, during nap time, during at the end of the day when they're asleep, what are you going to do to fill up your own cup? Please reach out, please chat. I am so glad that you guys are here. Thank you for listening. Thank you for watching. And you can find me at email me at mallory@beautifullyblooming.com. Find me at beautifullyblooming.com. You'll find out all the programs I have on there, as well as the registration for the webinar that's coming up this next week. You are listening to the Mindset Bloomcast with Mallory. I am your host, Mallory McGary. I'm the founder and CEO of beautifullyblooming.com. You are listening to the WGSN-DB Going Solo Network, radio, TV, and podcasts, the #1 internet talk network. Have a wonderful week, and I will talk to you soon.